Hello and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how we can make these buttons, whereby you click on it and you see kind of a ripple behind it, and I'll also show you how we can make these fab buttons of Android Material UI. So I hope you're ready to learn. Let's get started. So we'll begin by copying or by creating a new project. As remember, we created a basic project in the previous video. If you did not watch that video, please, I recommend you to go and watch the previous video how we created our very basic project that will be extending on. So here I'm in the folder where we created that project. I'm going to copy the project and then I paste it. So we have two projects. So I'm going to rename this one to be next to this. First of all, this first project would have renamed it like it should be 001, because the first one, not 100. Okay, then this is the project that we're going to use, the second copy, and I'm going to rename it and just put 002, and then I'll call it what? I'll call it buttons. Okay, don't put space. It's not recommended when you're creating an Android project. Don't put space. I can call it maybe buttons like this, basic, and then I also put here, I rename it and I call it 2_buttons. Okay, so there we'll have our project in a well organized way. So this will come here next to this one, but don't mind about the organization. But the main point is, as we go on, we'll be increasing this number. So I've created a second project by just copying the first one. Then I'm going to open this second one of 002 buttons. So I'll come to my IDE and then I click on File and then I click on Open, and then I come to Open, and then I'll come to this 002 buttons and then I say OK, and then our project will load. So for the first time, this project is still as basic as how it was before, and I'm going to run it so that we can see how to look like on the IDE. So to run this project, I'll just simply come here and select from this project. You see, you set it to project, from project to what? To Android project. Okay, so I'm going to run this basic project of buttons and we see how it's going to look like on the IDE, on the emulator. So I just simply click on run the app. So before we run our project, we'll begin by styling or by creating a theme for our project. So to create a theme for a project, you just simply come under your views and then you'll find a theme folder, and if you're using the old IDE, you'll find it under styles, which is just almost the same. So the main point, you should find where there is a primary and the accent colors. So you come here under themes and then click on themes, and then here we're going to set our own theme. The application that we were doing before, it was having an action bar. So I'm going to create a theme where I will not have an action bar. So to do that, I'll just simply come and just say copy this, just to save time. I will not write it. So the main point here is we just expand dot app compat, and then we extend also dot light, and then you put dot no action bar, and then the action bar will not appear in our application. Then after doing that, I'm going to define our primary color and our accent color. So to do that, I'll just simply say the primary color. You see, we're just coming here, the primary color, we put the primary color that we defined before in the colors layout. You see, here in the colors layout, we are having the primary color. So we define the primary color in this colors layout. Remember, when I was talking about the theming, we say that we will need a primary color, a dark color, and the accent colors, but they are optional. The most important one is the primary color. So you see, we define a primary color here. So this is going to be the main color in your application. You can make this color to be any color. If you want your application to be maybe a red main color, or black or blue, you can define the primary color in this section. So I define the primary color, I define the dark color, I define the color of light, and then I define the accent color and the accent dark color, and then the light color. So I already defined them, and in this section I'm just referencing them in the section of themes. You see here in the section of themes I'm just referencing these primary colors. Okay, so I can as well copy them and I define them from this side, which is having no problem. So I will remove this color that was coming with an IDE, and I'll also come and maybe define this to be our dark color. So I've already created the theme itself here, so I can just come and copy this color, and I'm going to explain every part, then I'll paste them here. So here you just define the primary dark color. So this primary dark color is the one that we define here in the colors, and we have the accent color, that is the color that will be mixed with the primary color. So you can also define the window overlay, like we remove the window. So I can remove this variant color, I may not need it. Also color on primary selection, I may not need it. So we may not need those others that are just defined by the IDE. We may not need them by you can just simply delete them. The most important ones are this primary color, primary dark, and also the accent color. Those are the most three colors that we always use in application. So I have defined them there. These remaining ones, they're just optional, and it means that we've defined our theme. So we can run our application and see how it's going to look with this new theme that we've created. So there is our basic application, and it is running on the emulator, and it is just having a word disagree, and this is coming from the string, and does not have an action bar. And you can see the primary color, the primary dark color is the one that is here on top. Okay, it's the one that is here on top, and that's what I was saying. So if you want to change this color in this top, you can just simply come here and change it from here. And the accent color is the one that is covering this word. So with that implemented, it means that we've now set the main basic things that we're going to be using in our application. Now we're going to start working on the real work. So begin with the buttons. Okay, we begin the buttons by, I'll just simply come to my main layout, which is this one, and I'm going to create the one who will open different actions. For example, will be opening for basic buttons. So I'll just come here and I'll split this one, and I'm going to change this one to scroll view. Okay, I'm going to change it to scroll view, or it can change to nested scroll view. So after changing the nested scroll view, I'm going to remove this text bar. So you can as well collapse this project section from here, so that you can have enough space to work with. So I'm going to put the linear layout, and I'm going to make it match parent, and also match parent here. So I'm going to make orientation vertical, but for the sake of saving the video speed, I'm going to be copying this code that I've already created, and then I'll be explaining it, because if I had coded it, I'll just make the video too long, and will not be able to finish in time. So I'm going to copy the code and I'll explain it, because I've already coded it before. So what I want to do here, I want to make a section where we'll click on, and then to show for us an activity of basic colors. This one I can code it while you're watching, so I can just simply come here and create a button, and I'll make it match parent and wrap content, and that's just a basic button, and I'm going to give it text. Supposed to close itself, and I'm going to give it text, and I'm going to say basic buttons. Okay, so I want when someone clicks here, we should show the basic buttons. So there it is. So now let us do let us put there the on click listener. So we'll just simply say on click, and then we're going to create a method. Let's say open basic. Okay, so we are going to create this method. So to create this method, we just press Alt and enter, and then to ask you to create this method in the main activity. So we'll say okay, and then that's our method. So I want to create here a logic like when someone clicks on this method, it should open another activity. So we'll begin by creating that activity of basic buttons by simply coming to our project and then right click and say on our project, right click on our project and say new, and then come and say activity, and then you just say basic activity. Okay, no, not basic activity, I want empty activity. Okay, I'll come back new, and then come here to activity, and then come and say empty activity. So I'm going to call this activity basic. Okay, just come and change here the word main and change it to what? To basic what? Basic activity, or you can say basic buttons or anything that you want. So I'll say finish, so that you should have this activity created, and then we'll have that activity of basic buttons. So I'm going to come here now to our main activity and do what? And open the activity by simply saying intent I is equal to new intent, and then we pass here the context, which is this, and then we'll then pass the what? The basic activity dot what? Dot class, and then we just open the what? The activity by simply saying this dot what? Dot start activity, and then we'll pass the I, okay, to open that activity, and it will be able to do what? To start this intent that we've created here. So it means that when someone click on this button, this method will be called and it will open the main the basic activity that we've just created. So here is our basic activity, and this is the layout for the basic activity. So this is the layout for the basic activity, and I'm going to put in that layout our basic buttons. So I've already coded these buttons, and I don't want to make this video too long by again writing the same code. So what I'm going to do, I'll be just copying part of those codes and I explain them, okay? And I'll share these codes so that you can be able to compare with yours. But I don't recommend you to copy and paste also, because you have to make it by yourself, and that's the best way to learn. So I've already created these codes. So I'll begin by creating this line of basic buttons, so whereby I'll just simply first create the what? The nested request scroll view, so that this view, the main view, should be scrollable. So I'll simply come here and delete this tag and change it to what? To nested scroll view, like this, okay? And then we'll have that nested scroll view. But you remember, nested scroll view can have only one parent. So in that parent, I'm going to put a what? I'm going to put a linear layout, as you can see. So I just create here a tag of linear layout and make it to match parent and height of match parent, and I say orientation is vertical. So after doing that, I will now come and put this first section of basic button. You see, this is just a section. I'm just going to copy it, and then I'll explain it, everything that is there. I'm going to explain it. So since this linear layout is having orientation of vertical, I'll just come and now do what? And put this section of this word basic and that view. So to do that, I just create here another linear layout. I just create a what? A linear layout. I create a linear layout here. Inside this linear layout, put another linear layout, and I make it to match parent, and I make its height to wrap content, and I put the padding on top to space large. Okay, remember this spacing are the dimension that I talked about. If you press Ctrl and click on it, you see our dimension large is already there. If you don't have these dimensions, I will put the link in the description so you can get these dimensions. But remember, in our very first video, we talked about how to set these dimensions so that we can reuse them to avoid repeating ourselves. So let us go back to our layout. So I put this margin top to become space large, you see, and then I put gravity to center vertical, and then I also make the orientation to become horizontal, so that this word should be next to this line. Okay, so I put the spacing left to be large, and also space right to be large. Okay, so that one will be our tag that opens this one. And then after, I'll create the text view, and this text view I just put the word text button, I mean basic buttons, and then later I do what, I put this view and I give it a width of matching 100%, and then I give it the height of 0, so that I should just create a simple space between this button and this view, and this main view. Then this view that is going to be here like a kind of gray, and then after I create that view of gray, which is having match parent and is having width of height of 1 pixel or 1 dp. This I can hard code it just because it's just a height, simple height, and I give it a background of gray. Remember, these colors we've already defined them, and that's the good thing of defining colors. Instead of hard coding it, I'll just define them. So if you press Ctrl and click on this color, you'll see it is already there. If you did not watch this first video, I recommend you to go and watch it and learn how we define these Android resources, the colors and the rest. So I've created that simple thing. So after creating that, then I'm going to go ahead and put now my first basic buttons. So to put that those first basic buttons, I'll just simply come and copy them, and then I'll explain everything. So I'll copy this basic button section. Okay, let me copy it, and then I'm going to explain everything. Don't be worried. I don't want to code it to make the video too long. That's why I first code it before and then I explain it. Okay, because I don't want the video to be too long as you're watching. So I'll paste it there, and I'm going to explain every part. So when you paste, when I do, I just hear what I did. Okay, let me code some others as you're watching. So here, remember, you're having orientation of vertical, and then I add another one. Okay, and then I make another linear layout. I give it width of match parent. You see, that's the linear layout that I created. I give it width match parent. I give it height wrap content. I give it orientation vertical, and then I give it padding of large, so that you should have some space between the buttons and the layout itself. Then after, I give it I put this first subsection of these buttons, you see, and then after I create the first button, which is just a normal button with no any text. Okay, you see, it is having just orientation horizontal, and this button is having no any text. And then I create the first button, which is going to have a color primary. So this is where the business starts from. So at this point, I'm going to style it. Instead of me hard coding the color here, I'm going to do what? I'm going to style this button should have the color of primary. So to style the button, you simply come to resources, and then you come to what? To styles. Okay, it's just like HTML. When you're creating websites, we could style our things only one time and we reuse them. So I'm going to come here to values, styles. Do you have styles? I believe we do. Not yet. We don't have styles resource view. So I'm going to create here a new resource file by right clicking and then say new, and then I come to to values resource file, and then I'm going to call it styles. Okay, and then there we go. Okay, so I'm going to create this style that is going to make this button look a primary button. So what do? I just simply copy this class, or I can just first create the style and then I reuse it. So here you see, if I click here on this button, click, it just takes me to the style. So to create the style, first of all, I'll first create this style that you've seen, and then I come and now write the code that will make the button to look like the way I want. So why, you can ask, like, why do I put the word button first and then dot primary? I put the word button so that our style should be grouped. So when I talk about button, it will know that I'm talking about buttons only. So that's why I organize them into buttons. But you can as well say like this. It is also okay. You can as well say BTN. You can as well say anything. But for me, I put buttons that this sound should be organized in button. So Android has a parent coloring of buttons. You see. So our reference is, they say that it should extend the parent of widget app compat button colored. Okay, just say extend. The main parent should be widget just put button color there, button colored. See, so Android will suggest for you the colors. So I select this widget, button colored. So this is being extended from what? From Android. So Android is having its own colors of buttons, and I'm extending it, and it's one that I'm going to do what? I'm going to format and could put my own. So that's why you see there is what? Style up compat button colored. So it's not that you'll create a button from scratch, but you'll extend the class or the style of Android buttons, and then you do what? You change it to what you want. If you press Ctrl and click on this one, it will take you to where the Android define these buttons, but you don't need to look at those things because then we are less concerned about them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close once, and then I come back to our own button. So every style that you create, it should extend a what? An existing style of what? Of Android. So I'm creating here the button. This is my own color that I reference it to. Then you see color normal one. So this color normal one, I mean color normal, is the one that is the main color. Is the main color of a what? Of a button. The main color of a button. We call it color normal. And then I reference my primary color because I'm calling it a primary button, but here I reference my what? My primary color. Remember, we have already defined the what? The primary color in our what? In our color resources. So this one, it can be any color, maybe red, no problem, but it will not make sense if you make it red or you make it another color if it's on the what? The primary color. So I reference my primary color. Then after I define the text color. So I want you to realize that writing these codes, okay, writing these codes is just like replacing, let me come back here. Yeah, it's just like replacing these attributes. You see, these attributes you can as well, for example, if you want to define the text, you just simply come under this style tag and put maybe item and then give it what? Text. You see, text, I mean, sorry, come and say Android text. You see, just begin by Android text, and then you can put here what? The default text. Okay, a simple text. So it means that if you don't define this text here, it will have that simple text that is coded here. Then here in the button itself, these ones, they will override these ones that we coded. Okay, I repeat, these styles, they will override the main styling of Android, and then these buttons, then this styling of Android, and then we define them here. And then these attributes, if you do what? If you what should I say? If you replace them here, they will also be overridden by the one inside the what? Inside the tag. So here you see, if I put simple text, and then it will also become here, but if I override it here, it will be replaced. So the main point here, I just defined the color button, the normal color of a button, and then also the text color. So you should have a background of our color, of our primary color, and the text color should be white. So by doing like this, we'll have defined the style of button. So it means that this style, we can use it anywhere in our project. That's why you see here, when I come here to the theme of a button, here you see an attribute of a theme, and I give it a what? I give it at style button primary. So it means that it will implement this style that we defined here in our button primary. So that's how we style the button. So I'll go ahead and do the accent button. So you can guess, you'll just simply come back to our style, and I can just simply duplicate this one, and I change this one to what? To accent button. Okay, so here I'll extend the button colors, and then I'll put here our color accent. Okay, color accent, and then we'll have that accent color that we created before. Remember this accent color. And then if we come now to our layout, you see we're having sorry. Okay, we're here. You see we're having now that accent button color. Can you see? We are now having that accent button color. So without wasting much time, let us go ahead and create the button with no border. Those are two buttons, the one that are having border. So I'm going to create a button with no border. We call it button borderless. Okay, so to create such a style, so I already create this style, so I'll just copy it and explain it. Sorry. So to create such a style, okay, just a borderless style. Just come and put here this one, borderless. It's a button with no border. You see, this one is just we extend widget of button borderless. So this one is the one of Android that has no border. So I want to create a button of borderless, but with a what? With primary that does not have border. A primary button with no border. So you can guess what you can do there. We can just simply come and duplicate this one, a primary button, but we just put here extend widget, Android button widget, borderless. Okay, like this. See, I just remove the border. This one was colored and this one just say borderless, then it will create that one with no border. So I don't know how I should organize it. It should be here, and then I give it a name of primary dot borderless. So it's a primary button but does not have a what? Does not have a border. So you see, we'll have a borderless button. We'll have a borderless button, only that the color should be primary. The background color, I mean the text color should be primary. Otherwise, if you don't give it the text color, remember it's not colored, so it will have to be what? It will have to be white. So the primary color, I mean the text color should be primary color. Okay, color primary, this one. Okay, like this. So if we come and check, you see we're having that borderless button with the what? With the text color of. So without wasting much time, let me just go very fast to the accent one, and I'll just simply copy and paste it, and then I'll explain the what? The code. This is the accent button that we want to create, the accent style. So just simply put the accent style. So I'll come here to styles, and then I'll put accent style. Here also you don't even need to define what? The color. Okay, so what have we done here? We just say button accent borderless, and it's extending accent button borderless colored. Okay, so if it is colored, we just simply put the text color to be accent color. So by doing like that, we'll come up with something like this. Okay, it is button that is borderless but with text color of that kind. So let's create a disabled button. So to create a disabled button, I'll just simply come and copy this code that I've already created to save our time. Okay, just put enable to be false. By default it will be what? It will be false. This one, it will be disabled. So I'm going to create this white. Okay, so I'll remove that for now. So let us now create this white disabled, and this one. Let's create that style. Okay, so that's what we'll get. That's what we'll get. We'll get a colored, I mean we'll extend up compared button colored, and then we just put the color to be white, and also the text color to be the color of primary. It's just an invert of this main colored button, but this one is having the what? Is having the border itself. Then lastly, we're going to create accent button, which is here. I'll just go to my styles, and then I call it, did you create it before? No. So this one that I want to create, just press Ctrl and click on it. Okay, so we're having up compat button that is colored, but it's having a normal color of white and the text color of color accent. So if you come here, you see we're having that color of accent. So here, this one is having just no border, and this one has what? Has a border. So that's how you can create borderless buttons and bordered buttons, and you can see they're kind of different looking. So let us run our application and see how it looks like at this moment. So there is our application. Now if I click on basic buttons, it should open the activity of basic buttons, and you see we have created that button. We're having this UI and they're having these basic buttons. So I click it, you see that kind of material component is going inside behind that. We have clicked on what? On a button. So this is a disabled button and this is the accent button. So without wasting much time, I'm going to just jump and go direct to these buttons, the fab buttons. Or is it? I'm going to go to the fab buttons, and then I'll share the code where you can get those buttons of app compat, and then if you want to download them, then you can go ahead and download them. So without wasting much time, let us go just straight to the fab buttons. So I'll just simply copy this section of fab buttons because I've already explained how to create the basic buttons. So let us just come and get this subsection title, collapse it, and then copy it. I'll share this code, so if you want to check out, you can just compare with your own. Then I'll come here to fab buttons. So I'll collapse this one, or I'll collapse this section. Okay, just collapse it from here and collapse this one from here. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to come here below this section and do what? And create the fab buttons. Okay, the fab buttons. So if you want the full where we're having also the app compat buttons, I'll also share with them. I'll also share the code so that you can get them. So I'll paste there the fab buttons. There we go. So I'm going to explain every part, so get ready. So begin. First of all, to create a fab button, those fab buttons, the rounded ones, is just those floating buttons. I call them fab buttons. Let me make this one smaller so that you can see clearly. You can see the source code clearly. So to create those buttons, just cut this. You see, float buttons. Let me show you how to create a simple tag. Just come here on the beginning of your tag and just put floating buttons. Just press enter, and then everything will be done for you. They are called floating buttons. Press Ctrl Alt and to do the rest. So sometimes this app is not resolved. The app compat, you just press Alt and enter to resolve them. Say create namespace, and then everything will be resolved. So I'm going to explain the basics, and then after explaining the basic of a single one, and then the rest will be self-explanatory. So this is the single one that is there. So let me explain how it is done. So I just simply create this tag, and you've seen how I've created the tag, and then I create the width wrap content, height wrap content, and then the margin on how far it should be from the other. I just put spacing large from the dimensions. You already know how we do that. And then I make it clickable to be true, and then I say gravity should be centered, and then I say text, it should be just a normal text. Okay, just be normal text, and then I define the color text. Okay, the color of the color of this icon that should be inside. So we call it tint. Okay, so you just say tint, and then I make it gray. Okay, remember this gray is already defined. And then I put the background tint. The background tint is the color that should be inside the background of the text of the button itself. I make it white, and then I put the fab size. This fab size, just press Ctrl and space. You'll see different sizes that you have. I have a auto, I have minimum, and you have the what? You have the normal. So I'll make it normal, and then after I make it the repo color, it should be gray, so that when someone will click on it, the color that should repo, like it should be like acting in a repo in the background, it should be gray 40, So you can also play with these ones. And then the last one is the what? Is the SRC, or the source comp, the source. So this source is the icon that it's going to be in the what, in the button. So let me create that icon by simply expanding here, by simply coming to our project and then click on Dribble. On Dribble, right click on it and then come to new and then come to resource, vector asset, and then come to and search the icon that you want to appear there. Okay, so I'm going to search a mic. Okay, so this is a microphone that I want, so you can rename it. Let me rename it as IC mic, icon mic, then I say next and then I say finish. So our microphone icon will be here, and then here just press Alt and enter, and then okay, just change it to what? SRC. If it's not compatible with yours, just put SRC and everything will be okay. Yeah, is it coming? Yeah, it is white. It is white. That's why you cannot see it. Okay, it is white. Let me put icon tint. Okay, let me make it this icon to be the problem with our icon is I made it to be white. Okay, so I'm going to change its color to this one, the fill color. So I'll just simply come and press on this icon, press just Ctrl and click on it, Ctrl and click on it, and then I'm going to change this color to be what? To be white. Which is taking the attribute of tint color. So the tint color is going to be this gray. The tint. Have we put the tint? Yeah. So I'm going to hard code it and make it this color. So if we come back, we should be able to see it. We'll see it, I think, when we run it, because this one's supposed to explain the app. Okay. This microphone is supposed to extend the app SRC, but it did not compile. But when we run it, we'll be able to see it. Okay, so that's how we do it. That's how we implement this icon. So I'm going to put here the icon of add. So I'll just simply come here to create new vector resource, and then I'll change this one to what? To add this one, and then I'll put there the IC add, and then say finish. Then this one should be add. Okay, so this one is not compatible. Add ignore attribute. No, I'll remove it, and then I'll make it SRC. Just change it to what? To source SRC and reduce SRC. When you run it, it will come, it will appear. Don't worry if it does not appear in the what? In this preview. So also here put create. See this icon that is here for what? For editing. So I'll just simply come to a dribble, new SRC, new vector resource, and then I add here to create. Okay, and then say okay, then put your icon create, and then say finish. Then we'll have that icon. Just come here and change it to what? And read. SRC compat, just the same. So that's it. So just come here and change it to what? To SRC. So let me change these ones to SRC. This video has become too long. Okay, so you're good to go. So let's run the application. I hope they are going to appear in the what? In the emulator. So I'll run it. So there, our application has finished compiling. So I'll click on basic icons. Boom. So you can see the icons have come. So that's how we create the fab icons. So that's our application. Let me zoom it a little bit. Yeah, there's our beautiful buttons, and these are icons. You see, that's our material UI icons, the fab icons. So that's how we create those floating icons. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Remember to practice, don't just watch, but practice. Let us meet in the next video where we're going to look at a little bit advanced way on how you can create these icons. If you need this source code, I'll put the link in the description of this video, so you can just go and get the link. But I don't recommend you to just go copy paste. I recommend you to first try by yourself, and then in case you want to do it faster, you can reuse my source code. You're free to do that, and I'll put the link in the description. Also, remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let us meet in the next video where we're going to look at advanced way of how we can implement different kinds of buttons in Android. Thank you for watching. See you.